Welcome, everybody, to the Journeymen Lounge podcast.
You better be praying to God because, you're 14 and losses in a row. You're going to need Jesus.
Am I wrong?
I thought you were pretty wrong, yeah.
Breaking news. The Journeymen Lounge podcast are here for the 2025 NFL Draft.
Yep.
Bears are looking good.
You guys are like the champions of the offseason. You guys have you make good moves. I'm not knocking that, but it's just a new formula to be, 7 and 12, right?
Right. So
right.
Normally, I'm just going to throw this out there. Normally, in the first 30 seconds, probably introduce yourself because, hey, we might have a new fan out here.
I'm an owner of the Green Bay Packers who are relevant.
There you go.
Make it to the playoffs. And who are you two?
And your name is
Roberto.
There you go.
Ciao, Roboy.
Ryan.
Ciao.
My name's Ryan, and I'm on the end here watching the draft. Whoa, kick it to you.
There you go, man. Intros are hard, I guess. Just Bobby coming out shitting on the Bears just for
Big surprise.
no apparent reason.
Bobby coming out spewing hate? No.
So,
Oh, all right. We're doing this. Good. Let it flow through you.
yeah,
You brought this on yourself.
it is draft night.
got
We're watching this, the Bears right now. Got the 10th. I think we're on the 6th pick now.
The sixth pick just happened.
Gentry just
Sixth
went
pick
to
just happened.
Oakland.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 7th pick coming up. Before we go a little bit deeper into the draft in general, I've been meaning to bring this up for a couple weeks. We've just talked about other shit here. But Verdansk is back, right? So in Call of Duty, Verdansk is back. And Ryan, you said something that was really shocking to me.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, I'm curious now.
So we're talking off pod hey, yeah, Verdansk is back. That's pretty cool. And Ryan just is dumbfounded at what we're talking about. So for those of you who don't know, which
I still don't know.
6 people,
I don't know.
Verdansk is the Call of Duty Battle Royale map that was started during COVID. That was the most popular game of all time in history.
Everyone got on
at
Verdansk.
one
Is
time.
that some Warzone shit? Or are you
Yes,
talking
that
about?
is-
It's Warzone. It's
Warzone's
Call of Duty.
lame. I don't like Warzone. No wonder why I don't know about it.
It's fine.
That's okay.
The fact that you didn't know that at all, though, I
That
was
hurts me a
a little
little bit.
shocked at that.
Well, I know what Warzone is. That's why I assumed it was something like that. but
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
you knew the space that it was in, but you didn't.
Yeah, I don't. Warzone's stupid. I don't like
Okay.
that. It's
Well,
like
that's-
it's like Fortnite, but for Call of Duty, and Fortnite's also stupid.
All right, that's your opinion. There you go.
That's a fact. I'm Bobby.
So
Oh.
I would just
that was good.
throw out my comments of the Call of Duty. We talked about video games a little bit a couple of weeks ago, months ago, whatever. But overall, Call of Duty's just in general effort towards doing new shit is at an all-time low. I used to be a Call of Duty every year without a doubt.
Same. Yeah.
And now I'm so out of it. I don't give a shit about it. I only play Warzone really because it's free. But if that was, costing money, I probably wouldn't play Call of Duty and sleep at night just the same.
You know what the problem was? Obviously, I think the Call of Duty, once they started getting into that whole sci-fi thing, which you had these weird upgrades that you're invisible or some bullshit. But now, if you want to play Call of Duty, you have to have 4 terabytes on your hard drive.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah.
No, and I'm over exaggerating just for
Barely.
But that's the reality. I literally had a PS4 and I was trying to continue to play Call of Duty, a couple years ago, and they're like, you don't got enough room. I deleted everything else on my console. And
If you don't have an external,
But
you can't play.
Verdansk, like I said, it was I think part of our lives at some point because at night, myself, my brother, Woj, Joe, JJ, and a few others, we'd all hop on and we'd all just play and kind of rotate around and just talk shit on our headsets. I fucking loved it.
I mean, again, it was such a social thing. It was such an important thing though for a while, especially while COVID was happening.
Sure.
But then me and some of my buddies, we were playing during the day during work.
Yeah.
And my company's bankrupt, so I don't give a fuck. I will not name them per se here, but again, dude, I think it was awesome that it's it came back. I'm stoked for it just because my brothers are also pumped for it. Other people are yo, dude, let's try and get on it.
Get on the dance. Yeah.
I will say I was much better back then, which you can say about a lot of video games.
Mm-hmm.
But again, my overall opinion of Call of Duty remains the same. Like, it's gone down in the dumps. I don't really give a fuck. They're going to make another change or whatever. I think it's eventually, like, it's just going to keep repeating the same thing over and over again. People buy it that buy it. I'm out now, and I mean, that's the way it should go. It seems like you guys don't buy it every year anymore.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a Warzone person. I don't like I said, I'll just really quickly go. I don't like the big map. It's too much.
Okay.
I like
multiplayer.
I like doing multiplayer, regular multiplayer.
Sure.
Specifically just free for all or team deathmatch.
Team deathmatch.
Hardcore.
I never.
I
play
prefer
that
like the
shit.
standard, like 8-on-8 or whatever it is, or what, something like that.
6-on-6.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. I think sometimes it's more.
You could go more. Yeah. There's other times you can do like 10v10 or something.
But yeah, I don't like having to like spend most of the time looking for people to kill. I want to just kill people.
You just like the chaos.
Right.
Like
Okay.
I like running and gunning. I like sniping occasionally, but again, I don't like to be spending all my time looking
I got you.
for. That's why I never really liked Fortnite or Warzone. Not my thing. But I do. Like I said, like the regular. I used to buy Call of Duty for like the regular multiplayer and the zombies.
Zombies.
We used to
was
play all
always-
the time. We still do sometimes.
Well, that's the part that I do hate about not buying it. But like
Yeah.
the zombies is completely evolved to something. It's big map like zombies now.
Yeah.
Where it's not in a confined space where you're trying to open up all the doors.
I like that though. There were some cooperative, efforts to make that.
I think
happen.
those were just some of the funnest times to be like, yo, we could spend 6 hours playing this, and it's fucking sick. And that other one, I feel like Aaron and my cousin Justin are like playing it for like 3-4 hours, which is cool, but like 3-4 hours gets you nowhere in that game. They're still like,
Zombies?
they're still like, oh shit, we
Yeah.
we did one thing in 2 hours.
Well, me and you, we always try and get to a certain round, and if we get past a certain point, we're just like, we're done. Like
It's like we've played it to its completion.
yeah.
And in the one other zombies, like Modern Warfare, Advanced Warfare, or whatever,
yeah.
there's like a
I
thing
think it was
to do.
I think it was Infinite.
Infinite Warfare. There's like a thing to do eventually. So it is like nice to be like, okay, I'm done with that. I wouldn't want to keep like going. Okay, we completed section 1 of 8. Now we got to go back in.
Yeah, well, usually it would be like for us, like we die at a certain level, but it's like we've come too far to just start over again. Like we're on like 25, and it's
Right.
just like we've done it. Or it's like the other way where we literally keep going. To we're like 35, 36, and then we're kind of just doing the same thing. We're running around. We're cycling through. It's just kind of repetitive. Like we've advanced as far as we're going to advance.
One
basically.
guy unfortunately keeps dying. Can't
Right.
get built back up. Yeah, it's just hitting your head
Eventually,
against the wall.
upgraded guns don't do anything, and you're
Right.
just like it's like a pellet gun.
Again, I enjoy for sure zombies, but it's not enough to change my mind on Call of Duty. That's just what I wanted to get out, just because with Verdansk coming back. If we ever get the gaming part of the Journeymen Lounge podcast
You've
up,
thrown up a few videos. People have been.
well, I
responding.
have clips
Yeah.
from the private collection that
Ooh, I like that label.
that are like my shit. Some people out there send it in often in the wrong format.
Did you post that one of Elvin Hayes getting the tip slam alley oop?
No, because dude,
that was dope.
put in. I had so many clips in my saved data.
Yeah.
I get all those. I'm still in like halfway through, so it's tough to go back and pick. Like I got to send it to myself to then do it. I assure you, all the clips will get up eventually.
I like
is
that
my-
though. Sparingly, just pop them out.
But yeah, I just Call of Duty, Dunzo. Moving on, back to the NFL draft.
Okay.
So I'll give each person 2 minutes, let's say, to go through your. What does your team need to do? What are you looking for in their pick? Go.
Me? Okay. I mean, I know, like, I've said in this podcast that taking running backs in the first round is dumb, and most time it is.
And you're gonna go right
But
against
I'm
that.
gonna go against that. I am. Well, it doesn't matter now. It's a moot point. Genty got
Yeah.
taken by the Raiders, so I would have been happy if we got him. I wouldn't have been upset about it. But as far as what we need, if we were gonna go, I wouldn't mind getting, like I said, that Tyler Warren guy. That tight end looks really good. Even though, do we need him? That's debatable. We have Cole Kmet, obviously, but I mean, he's shown some flashes, but he's not like Tony Gonzalez or something.
Sure.
Obviously,
That's a hell of a comparison.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it's not
Yeah,
like, oh my God, how are we going to get rid of him?
Right.
Kind of guy.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I mean, Woj probably said it. We probably need to go on, one of the lines, offense or defense. I mean, as I said, though, we did in free agency pick up 3 starters And now we have at least 4 out of 5 starters, I would say, that should be solid.
I mean, the line is very improved. That's all I'll say.
And defensive, we also went out. We got Grady Jarrett. We got the guy from the Colts, and we still have Montez Sweat. So we have a lot on the defensive line too. Despite
I like Sweat, man. Sweat's a disruptor.
I mean, I keep hearing people talk about how we need to get an end to go with Sweat, but I'm like, didn't we just sign that guy from Indy for like $40 million? Isn't the whole purpose is he's going to be the guy? So I don't know. Maybe we need to get. We might have to get another safety because Brisker with these concussions is looking. I don't know if we want to take it early, obviously, but at some point in the draft. So
I think it could be addressed. I think they definitely go defense. I think the Bears always do have a nice balance of offense defense selections.
I don't. Sorry, one more. I definitely would like, though, if we're not taking running back this round, the next round, maybe taking one of the guys from Ohio State if they're there. They got those 2 good running backs. I mean, there's a heavy running back draft, but I think at some point it'd be nice to take another running back because I'm not sold on Swift completely. And Roshan Johnson has looked decent, but for some reason they're clearly not confident in him because they're not starting him. So it couldn't hurt to have another guy in the mix, I think, especially with the talented class that they have here.
Yeah, I mean, I think every year you got to pick up a running back. I would just say Jalon Walker from Georgia's linebacker. That's who they have as best available. Tyler Warren. I really, if you go line of any kind, I'm happy. I think that if you draft a defensive lineman, who they have Michael Williams from Georgia as well, is the next best available defensive lineman. You at least put him into a system with those 3 guys. Grady Jarrett, let's be honest, he's at the end of his tenure with NFL career. He could be a good mentor for him. Get him ready to kind of take his place. I know he's like edge, whatever, but I just look at it as like just address something that you want to have stability in going forward. The tight end position to me, like. You draft this guy, you already, as Bobby mentioned, you already had problems getting the ball to fucking tight end, who is supposed to be your number 1 option and like easiest check down. Now
but
you're going to add in
different packages like a double tight end or jumbos. That might work.
I mean, that is a fair point though. That Ben Johnson is going to change up. Eberflus fucking his offense.
As I was going to say, I trust Ben Johnson. Whatever he thinks.
Eberflus.
I think the Ben Johnson connection makes a better play for the tight end. Makes more sense logically. I'm looking at what the Bears have not done historically is that I feel like they haven't had a great position. Like I'll use an example, but it would be an odd one, and I get what your objections to it. But like having a linebacker core like Urlacher and Lance Briggs, and then like going in and drafting another linebacker in the like 2nd, 3rd round, whatever. You're just improving the longevity of that so that those guys can eventually take over. Because right now the Bears have been good in spurts. It's been like 3 years here, great. 2 years, 3 years here, great. And that's only happened twice in like the last like fucking 20 years. So I'm looking for longevity, and that's my take. All right, Bobby, you are on the other side of the fence.
We got Green Bay drafting 23rd. We had a decent
Panthers
season.
just selected a fucking wide receiver.
Is this the same McMillan that's Tampa Bay or like brothers, cousins?
I don't know.
All right, it doesn't matter. Green Bay, I think we need to round out our secondary a little bit. I think getting some talent there would be a good opportunity, and I would love to have, like you said, maybe more of a defensive pressure situation. Give us a D end or a good, D lineman or a linebacker. I think a steady like linebacker in the first couple rounds to really kind of bolster our, run stop. That was a big issue for us last year. You could run like 200 yards on Green Bay. We did better. I think that there's still room for improvement, but I think, rounding out the secondary a little bit, getting an edge or a linebacker should be a priority. And then we have a young wide receiver core. We have our running back situations sorted, so possibly an offensive line. To just add a little bit more depth or add some, strength there in case, injuries do.
I mean, I would largely argue that the end of the first round picks tend to be more like trade fodder. I feel like people a lot of times trade those picks later to pick a guy that they're like, oh yeah, we specifically wanted him, but like overall, like I can't really think of too many like picks that were after the like 19th, 20th spot that are really making an impact. Like I think it's going to be like the player is going to be good no matter what. But, like I don't know if like in your guys' current often the depth chart.
Do you feel like there's a
yeah.
divergence? Is that what you're saying? There's a bigger gap between talent in the first, second round compared to the fifth or sixth?
I mean, I think translation for sure. That like the guys picked in the first 10 rounds. I'm sorry, 10 picks are usually pretty well adjusted. They're playing at the big schools, the SEC.
Vince Young was picked first.
Great tidbit. I'm just saying in general, though, that like those guys seem to be, and it's obviously expanding more because the more players you have in these top tier programs. I'm thinking more of like the 20th to the 32nd pick in my view doesn't really do much. It's not really somebody who you're leaning on, and you're definitely not their rookie year, but even after that, like, does he pan out? I mean, we'll see, but it's just kind of my take. I mean, Ryan, do you have an example against it?
I'm sure there's plenty of guys.
What about the wide receiver?
taken-
What's his name on the Rams? He wasn't a first-round pick at all.
Puka?
Puka, I think came later in the draft.
I'm talking specifically about the first round, the 20th through 32nd picks.
Oh, I could see that being, like you said, fodder a little bit, sure.
I mean, I don't really know. It could go either way. It's
I
a
don't-
draft.
yeah.
Can anything happen? I mean, either way, you're sitting back and you're letting it play out. And if you want to trade out of there, you can. I don't think it's like you feel pressure to stay in that pick. It really depends on what's there. You know, it's a case by case. I can't.
Right. If the talent it doesn't correlate to what you're trying to fill in a gap, you
Yeah.
grab someone that is
You
talented
might-
and use them as
You
trade
might
bait.
be able to catch like a desperate team wanting a quarterback, wanting to get back
I
into
can
the
see
first round. Then you get like an early second round. You know, and you have 2 early second rounds. You know, you've seen that many times, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
so.
I think there's always going to be, I'm going to just list off a couple of guys that Josh Jacobs, 24. Panned out, absolutely. Some of the other guys, Justin Jefferson, solid.
Like I said, I think you sleep a little bit, but there's some talent there, and I think they're hungry to prove their, I guess, worth.
I think these guys are fine, but like you also have the guys like, who the fuck did I
I'm
just
sure
see?
there's a bunch.
No, I'm sure there's both sides, but like Tyler Linderbaum. Have you ever heard of this guy?
Well, you got like, you know, like
Just
Paxton Lynch, like the Broncos quarterback, that got taken in the
Mm-hmm.
mid to late 20s, and he never did anything. You
Oh
know,
my
Right.
God, yeah, I remember that.
the real tall guy from Memphis, I believe.
yeah.
There's tons of examples of both. Like, wasn't like Johnny Manziel like picked 22 or something, like 24?
yeah. I don't
So
know.
you never.
I agree that there's both sides. I just again I think
I like what you know, but you grab them, then use them as trade bait.
I'm mainly like phrasing it in terms of like Green Bay this year of like don't expect a whole lot out of this guy. Like I don't look at this guy to be like seeing the Bears twice a year.
See, I wouldn't say that. You're a first round draft pick. I expect a lot from you.
Yeah, I'm kind of in his camp. If I'm grabbing you, there is value. We want to use
Unless you're like maybe like a quarterback, like let's say Shadur Sanders this year, who's like a project maybe. Yeah,
Right.
in that situation, yeah, it does against a case by case basis. Sometimes you may be taking like if Bobby's team's taking a defensive back, you're expecting him to be like your nickel corner right away, probably,
But
or better.
But I'm speaking more of the fact that like Green Bay overall is pretty well put together. You have some holes.
We have some holes, but not detrimental.
That's what
holes,
I'm
yeah.
saying is like a guy in the 20th to 32nd pick, unless you said like that specific example of like nickel corner.
Sometimes it's gonna be a project player, sometime with high potential, and sometimes it's gonna be like a higher floor player that you need to play right away. It's a case. I don't know. I think it's case by case.
I mean, again, we can see. We'll definitely do that here. Let's
Let's twist it over to you.
album.
Yeah, I would say let's. I'm not meaning to cut the draft, but we will kind of pick it back up when we. Honestly, the Bears are going to pick here, so we'll probably shout it out.
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
do
Shout
it.
it out.
But let's get into the album though, just because we're at 20 minutes anyway. So
Yep.
All right, cool guys. So I of course chose the 2005 album.
I'm sorry to interrupt you right before. Last thing on the draft, real quick, before we move.
Sure.
Do you guys really get like super excited for the draft? I watch it. I'd like to see what's happening. I'm not. Some people throw like draft parties. Some are like, hey, let's get together, watch the draft at a bar.
I do get a little excited. I do. I used to be way more into it. Like I'd watch every pick.
Okay.
I still do get excited, especially when the Bears have like an earlier pick. But then after the Bears pick, usually I'm kind of like, all right, I don't care as much
checked out,
anymore.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when the Bears are going to pick, like last year I was really hoping to get Roma Dunze and we got him. I was listening on the on the radio while I was grocery shopping on my app or whatever. So, I do get excited somewhat, but nothing, you don't know anything till the season starts, training camp, a lot of things can happen, but it is at least it's like NFL is coming back, it's nice to
see. It's halfway to like, hey, it's going to be back. Bobby, again, any interest in the draft? You're like, hey, you see the Green Bay pick and then peace out.
I guess, yeah, kind of sort of in that feeling. I don't have so much hype. It is being hosted at Green Bay and Lambeau, so that's kind of cool.
It definitely seems like it's not a
We're
not super enthused about it, but I will agree with Ryan. It's like kind of the halfway point of like, it's getting back a couple more months, then we're talking about fantasy, then we're getting
But
back
if we were more
into
into college football, maybe this would have a bigger hit, but the thing is we're not.
Yeah,
I like seeing the drama, kind of some of the trades and stuff. It's kind of interesting, but I don't really know a lot of the players, like you guys said. Like I know some, like people have talked about.
Like
but...
Pete Top, Kevin Bottom, drafting.
All right, sorry to interrupt.
Sure, that's cool, man.
Go ahead.
All right, so yeah, as I was saying, I chose the documentary from the rapper The Game. Came out about 20 years ago exactly, January of 2005. It was released by Aftermath Records, G-Unit Records, Interscope Records. It was when The Game was signed with G-Unit. As people know or don't know, it was 50 Cent. It was 50 Cent, The Game, Lloyd Banks, Young Buck, and Tony Yayo, which was like, and they were part of like Eminem's, the label. Eminem found 50 Cent, and Dr. Dre found Eminem, so it's like a whole Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent family, if you will, like rap thing. And like as I said, The Game was like at this time, like 50 Cent was obviously the guy, and The Game was kind of like the second guy. Like
I would say so,
like the most popular. And it wasn't expected at the time. At first when G-Unit came out, I was like, I thought, at least me and my friends thought Lloyd Banks was going to be the guy, and it was The Game was turned out to be the guy. But then he only was with G-Unit for just this album.
Okay,
and that was it. Him and 50 got into it, I guess. So this is like The Game is like he's a West Coast rapper. So I just want to put that out there. Anything you guys want to add to what I'm talking about?
No, I mean, you pretty much covered it. I would just throw it out that, like, if you're kind of like a amateur, not an amateur, but like not a huge fan of like this hip hop lane, like G-Unit was huge at the fucking time.
Yeah, we should say that.
And I would then put on top of that, like, 50 Cent had like a solid 4 album run or whatever, where like
5 to 7
his shit
years.
was hot.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like I had his fucking CDs, the one with the bullet holes in it.
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Right. But I do feel like The Game was definitely up in that. He was
a big deal.
He was in the same zeitgeist. He was in the same register, but I just want to mention, like, 50 was a little bit.
No, 50 was ahead of him, but I would say
prominent.
If I'm comparing the albums between this and Get Rich or Die Trying, they're very close. Like Get Rich or Die Trying is the more hyped album, but this is like sneaky, like sleepy,
good,
like really underrated and
Absolutely.
good. Bobby, anything you want to add?
No, I thought you guys kind of summarized it very well. Low key, really incredible album, and the guy's got flow.
Yeah,
the guy's got real talent.
He's got a great voice. Like he's very pleasant to listen to. I think that's a big thing when you like listen to a rapper. Do I like the way he sounds, his flow?
Like DMX could be abrasive to some.
Right,
like he's yelling the whole
he
time.
can go like The Game can go hard. He could go like more laid back. And his lyrics are good too. He has fairly good lyrical content. A lot of references in his like movies and NBA players. Other rappers, things like that.
Sure.
So I'm just going to get into my notes.
You want to go through the song?
Yes.
Tracks? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the track list, and then we'll just after that, we'll go break it down that way.
Sure.
So you got the intro, which is just like a little skit voice thing.
And can I say it's exactly how a skit should sound to me. It's
Yes.
perfect. It gets you hyped for the album. You're like, oh, what is this? About 30 seconds. I thought it was absolutely perfect. Like it just hit it.
Usually I hate these things.
And then moved on into the album. I like that. Sorry, go ahead.
Really quick, the Bears about the pig. Just one.
I also got to mention Steve McMichael, Mongo.
Oh yeah, R.I.P.
Mongo.
Yeah,
Passed
man.
away, man. That's
sad.
That's really
is
tough,
sad.
man. He was one of the faces of the Bears
He was
for so many years.
A good dude. Like from what I heard, people who knew him always would take
Played his
time.
heart out,
Yeah, like to.
I'm a Green Bay
things.
fan. This guy was the real deal.
I mean, you're not a monster, Bobby.
I'm not a monster.
You
I
have
love football. I love
empathy for the respect for the
Sure.
I think
absolutely.
Mongo played for Green Bay for a year.
for a year
in his
yeah,
career,
right.
at the
right?
end of his career.
That's what I thought.
Which he famously had said, like, "Oh, I only signed with them to take their money." and beat the shit out of them at practice or something like
He
that.
did say that. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I've heard those stories of him being like a nice, good-natured guy signing autographs. He was in the WWE or WCW for a
WCW
while.
was
Yeah, I
announcer.
thought I remember that.
Winning
Yeah.
some shit.
Coached the Chicago Slaughter and Hoffman.
Okay.
Hoffman Estates at
That's
the
kinda-
Sears Center.
That's kind of wild. Cool.
yeah,
But,
Arena Football. Or
Also, finally, nominated for the Pro Football Hall of Fame when he was.
whatever. Should have been in way long ago. Like he had one of the sack records, I think, or he was up there in sacks for a while.
I mean, he was part of that defense that a lot of those guys.
That's the
have
problem.
been.
A lot of guys already got noticed, and he kind of got on the
Yeah.
back burner or whatever.
Yeah, other guys kind of superseded him in terms of popularity there, but again, it's just something to mention. He unfortunately he had
Holston
ALS.
Loveland.
Okay, now we got to talk about it. But R.I.P. Mungo. So the Bears selected Colston Loveland
Was Tyler Warren taken already?
out of Michigan. Tyler Warren is still available.
No, he's still available.
Oh God.
So the Bears just
Yeah.
We
took
didn't.
the
you have a
sec-
Cole now, Colston and Cole.
So we just took
we-
the second best tight end.
We
Is that
didn't
what just
take the
happened?
number one tight, and we took the other guy.
Well,
Look at them hugging each other.
dude, what the
Hey guys, we're gonna try to get to 7 wins this year.
what the fuck,
All right,
Bears?
I don't like that.
What are we doing? Get
I
ready
don't
for my
know.
phone to blow the fuck up, man. Because this,
I'm
dude,
already getting text messages.
Dude, I looked at my phone earlier today. They were just talking about the pre-draft and
Yeah,
my one
Tyler
fantasy
Warren's.
football.
Uh,
Fucking 70 drafts, 70 text messages rather in like fucking 2 minutes. What are,
disappointing.
what are we doing, Bears?
I don't know.
What
All
are
right.
we doing? This
get back to
guy?
the album.
Yeah, back to the album.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, Cole,
Christ.
Colston, yes.
It's not that. It's just like, dude, the best player available is still there. You
Warren
don't take
from
him.
Penn, though.
And then you don't. Okay, if you don't take the tight end, the number one tight end, take the number one at some other position.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well,
sorry.
that's unfortunate. That's okay. Back to the album.
Back to the
Sorry,
album.
sorry, audience, but we had to.
Yeah, our
comment
7
on that.
people
Right
watching, we
there,
apologize,
Bears.
yeah.
What the fuck?
All right. So anyway,
Label.
we got the intro. Then it goes into West Side Story featuring 50 Cent, Dreams, Hate It or Love It featuring 50 Cent, Higher, How We Do featuring 50 Cent, Don't Need Your Love featuring Faith Evans, Church for Thugs, which was produced by Just Blaze, I should mention.
Just Blaze.
Put You on the Game, produced by Timbaland. Start from Scratch, featuring Marsha Ambrosius. The Documentary, Runnin', featuring Tony Yayo and Dion. No More Fun and Games, We Ain't, featuring Eminem, also produced by Eminem, this song. Where I'm From, featuring Nate Dogg. Special, featuring Nate Dogg. Don't Worry, featuring Mary J. Blige. And then finally, Like Father, Like Son, featuring Busta Rhymes. Now, I should mention that there were 6 singles from this album, apparently. I knew, obviously, the big ones would be How We Do and Hate It or Love It. I think most people would know those.
West Side Story, too, man.
West Side Story was the first one. Then you got How We Do, then Hate It or Love It, then Higher, Dreams. Those people probably know that one, most people. And then Put You on the Game. All right, so let's just go track by track, our thoughts on them. So the intro, you guys liked, you already said. I thought it's fine. It's not bad. I don't like Hate It or Love It. It's decent.
Oh.
Way to pull that one
I
in.
honestly wasn't trying to do that,
You wrote
but it
that
worked
down,
great.
Guaranteed.
So I didn't, but that's cool. 2, West Side Story. I love this song. This is
Fucking love
this is
this
a
one.
great
It's a
way to
jam.
bring in the album. I love the piano mixed with the other piano, like the two like different setting, like the sound, the beat. I love the rap lyrics. He's talking about, I don't know if you guys caught any of them. He's talking like some about rappers in some of them, and then at the end he's talking about specific movies like Friday, Juice, and Above the Rim.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then 50 Cent on the hook is great. As far I was trying I'm doing a new thing when I'm doing the albums. I'm doing like a 5-star little thing for my notes to
Rankings.
help me like
Sure.
yeah. Which I gave this one 4.5 out of 5. I think it's a great.
Would
track.
agree. Would
Yeah.
agree.
Your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I would probably give it a 2.5 out of 5.
2.5.
Yeah,
How drunk are you?
the not even a full beer in. The through line through the album is that Dre is still fuck. I would argue that this is a absolute like solidification of like if you had any thoughts, which I don't know why you would, that Dr. Dre is not one of the greatest producers of all time.
Yeah.
Every song I pretty much was writing down, this was a dope beat. Oh shit, didn't even know you could do this in producing and stuff. So I'd said that for this one. That's why it gets me a 2.5. I will say my
I'm blown
My
away
favoring of the game is like there are a couple songs that I just feel like I don't know, it was something. It wasn't super specific. Like he did this and I hated it. It just wasn't hitting me like some of the other songs. And I mentioned out on the porch, that like I slept on him for sure. Like he is a phenomenal guy. It's just for this song, it just didn't do it for me. It's more the beat was great.
Boy, you crazy.
All right, yeah.
I don't know what
That's
you didn't
coming
like
from
about
me,
it.
man, and I like to hate, but this is a great track. Yeah,
Okay,
fucking
cool.
great.
All right. 3, Dreams. This is one of the singles. To me,
It's all right.
yeah, that's what I said. I like the beat for the most part. Decent chorus, but could be better. I gave it 3.5.
Same.
About same, yeah.
Yeah. The next one is
Fucking 5. I love it. Hate it or love it.
Hate or Love It, which I put arguably the best song on the album.
Most
At least in the
commercial-
conversation.
I'd say probably commercialized as
Yeah.
well.
Love the beat. Love the 50 Cent feature, and I love how they switch out verses. And the whole flow of the song, like the real laid backness of it. I love the hook. I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an easy 5. I mean, for this one,
Slam dunk, yeah.
probably in my case, kind of how you were introduced to the game, and then you obviously not obviously, but like in this case, like I actually did look up his other shit. Like sometimes I hear the one song, I'm like, oh, I like that song, that's cool. But this was like, oh shit, him introduction. Not introduction to 50, but like exactly as you said, going the back and forth. Those are the songs where I'm like, if both guys are sick at rapping, the song is probably going to be pretty good. And then you throw Dre producing it. It's like, where can you go wrong here? Like
Win-win-win.
It's yeah.
It's like I just like how they're passing the mic like back and forth. That's a good like the way they do that.
Sure.
We got number 5, which is Higher. Now I put down the beat's a little repetitive, but it grows on me. I enjoy the piano. The game has good flow on it, and I thought it was really funny. I don't know if you guys caught this, but Dr. Dre has a one line. And he's like, "Look out for Detox," which if you don't know, or if you know, was supposed to be his third album after The Chronic 2001.
Yeah.
And it didn't come out for like 10 years
Oh.
after this, and also it didn't even come out as the Detox. It was rebranded as Compton. So it actually never came out. So I get a kick out every time I hear that. Look out for Detox.
I
It never
gotcha.
came out.
Doesn't know the future
As
there.
far as what I gave it 4. 4 stars.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the repetitiveness. The one thing, I mean, this is probably near the 2-3 range for me.
I was going to say I'm close to like 3.
But like it
Could be 3.5.
there's a lot of shout outs to Dre in this, which again, it's awesome.
Understandable.
It's awesome to shout him out. He's producing the music. I get that. As you go through the entire album, you get to like song 17. You're like, all right, man, shut the fuck up.
Well,
about like you just like, you know, a lot of times just like random words like that, Detox, or it's like the Chronic. It's like, okay, sometimes it doesn't flow with the what they're doing. But just like Dre the man. It's like, yes,
well,
we
for
know
one
this.
thing, obviously Dr. Dre produced this, so he's on the song. 2, a lot of people were saying the game is like the new reincarnation of Dr. Dre at the time. Like not for his beat making, more of like
Okay.
the way his voice sounds, the way
Never
he
heard
raps.
that. Okay.
You weren't in the game like me, you know.
In the game, as
Yeah,
we're discussing the game?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, let's get on with it to How We Do. Again, I put arguably the best song on the album. This, you know, that didn't hate it for love it. You could choose either one. And they're
Pretty much.
both amazing beat, very catchy. Chorus is catchy. Again, I love the 50 Cent in the game trading the verses off, and I know every word of this song. Give it 5 stars.
Would concur.
I mean, this is it's overall it's a good song, but I think this is definitely where I
Bump this in your Cadillac.
I
baby.
put 50. He just edges him out with the
Sure.
I would say like my barometer for being a really good rapper. And granted, I haven't listened to everything from the game, but like I would assume that 50 has more songs where he is the feature on it that also are fucking bangers, as well as the ones that he's the solo artist on. The game, I think, I mean, how many albums did the game put out?
He's got a bunch. I
Well,
mean,
I'm just saying, just give me a rough estimate.
I don't know. There's a lot. Spotify had like.
Well, is it like 50 or is it
Is it
like
a dozen at least?
10?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like, I mean, like, but like two. I mean, two of them were at least big. This one and the one after this, the Doctor's Advocate,
Okay.
which was not with G Unit, not with Aftermath Records. He left them, but it was also a very highly touted album at the time.
Okay. I think I'd need to do a little bit more research on the game to really give it. But I'm just saying, in this song, this kind of flips it for me to go like, holy shit! Like 50 is killing it, kills it in Hate or Love It, kills it in this song.
Yeah. No, he's good. And it's definitely a good way to establish the game as a big artist as well when you have 50 Cent on there. Obviously.
Right, it's like throwing brand recognition behind something.
Well, it's like when you had like Snoop Dogg on the Chronic, you get introduce him on the Dr. Dre album, and then when his album comes out,
right.
Bang, yeah.
Peanut butter
Okay,
jelly,
next
baby.
one.
So yeah, next one would be I Don't Need Your Love, which is number 7. I put down, I love the beat. It's got a good bass line with a cool sample mixed in, and the game goes hard on it. But I like Faith Evans' voice on the hook. I put, however, the hook could be catchier. It's not like the best. Like it's
It's not a skip for me, but it's one of those things I got to be in the mood for, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I actually put this as like one of the game's greatest verses, not verse, but like his greatest rapping to me.
I think so too.
I thought that was
I think so exactly.
that like where he's fucking with, and I looked up some lyrics which I'll throw in the other songs, but like just everything he was saying in this shit is like, oh my god, like he's fucking absolutely killing it. And then I love the dichotomy with then Faith Evans doing some like R&B shit over the back.
Yeah.
That really
I like
solidifies
Faith
it for
Evans
me.
too,
Like
yeah.
I think this is his best like overall song where it's like, yo, this is like
Showcasing his talent a
you
little
killed
bit.
it.
Yep.
She killed it. It's like a fucking
I had it
perfect
at least
song.
as a 4 for me.
Yeah.
I
for
got to
sure.
be in the mood, so I don't know how to rank that. It's one of those.
Next one is 8, Church for Thugs. I put down, this is the Just Blaze one. I put Awesome Beat by Just Blaze. I'm like, it starts off a little questionable, and then once it fully kicks into the beat, I like the way it sounds.
Agreed. I think
Banger.
yeah, good run through.
I
Yeah, it
love,
starts off a little.
I love the effect with the radio getting turned down and the game gets turned on his voice, and then he cranks it back up. That was a
fucking
cool
sweet. Yeah.
little thing. It's a different sound from the previous song, so it's refreshing. And then I like that he had a cool line about Shaq and Alonzo on this one. I wrote down. I gave it 3.5 for me.
Okay. I thought you were going to say the line, but that's fine.
Oh, I don't have it written.
That's
down.
all good.
I'm sorry.
I just put another banger. All right, next one.
Okay. Number 9, Put You on the Game. Yeah, this is one of the best songs on the album for me. Amazing, funky beat by Timbaland. Very upbeat, well mixed. The game has great flow on this track. Pretty good chorus. Maybe a little room for improvement, but this is like a 5 for me. This is a good one. I like this one a lot.
Okay. I put is fine for me. Possibly not definitely a skip, but like I wouldn't.
Are you insane?
Seek
A
that one out.
skip? What the fuck?
Again, a lot of mentions to Dre. It was too much in this one. For me.
I know. I kind of actually like to his
Man.
sentiment. Not saying it's a skip, but it's like, dude, at some point, it's like, yo, Dre, this is for you, Dre. So Dre. It's like okay.
Not to that.
No, but it's like
you know,
Jesus Christ, man.
exaggeration.
Like I get it. Get off his jock. For
to
a minute
me,
and
it's
fuck-
like it's an accumulation of like at this point now
Well, it's
he's
already
had
been
like
said 70 times.
4 or
yeah.
5 songs.
You don't
where
like the
he's meant-
beat?
No, the
beat's
beat.
solid.
Again, the whole through line is that the beat is always great, but again, what he does with the beat or any other feature does their verses.
I'm kind of with
I'm
him though.
just
Like
in general, the repetition of Dre's shout-outs, as good as they are, I'm not saying they're bad shout-outs, it starts to get too repetitive that at this point I'm like, God damn, man. Can we not speak about Dre
this
again?
song gets you going though.
Because then, unfortunately, he does it in another couple songs right after that. Like, it's the whole album is just like shout-outs to Dre when I think you can do like 1 or 2 a song.
Well, he pulled him out of the
cleverly.
ghetto, man. He's shouting
I'll
them
just say
out.
this: perfect workout song for this one.
Yeah.
I just
love
think
that.
you could be more clever with it, and it feels forced when you're 3-4 times in some songs.
I think you're harping too much on the Dre thing.
I'm just saying that's what led me away
like-
from this one.
It's like 3 6 Mafia. They say their same shit in every song, but that's what they do. That's what they do.
But the difference is that 3 6 Mafia, as you said it, is a repetitive group made for this like club style type shit.
Sure.
Where you're trying to do that. The game, I mean, dude, as you can see
He's
in
got a lot in
his
his bag.
lyrics, man,
Yeah.
he can fucking.
That's true, but
some of that shit is so smart that I'm like, oh man, you got to be doing that more. I like
this
the-
is a club type of song, though.
It is no. This,
Okay,
this,
it leans
this
it
shit
leans
gets you
more.
going.
I agree with that. I just again it to me the multiple mentions started to take me out of it.
All right, fair enough. Next is Start From Scratch featuring Marsha Ambrosius. I'm not really a big fan of this one.
Skip.
Yeah, I said it has he has good lyrics in it, and it's like a decent beat, but I don't like the chorus. I just don't like it. Give it a 2. It's fine.
That's generous.
Okay,
All right.
moving on.
Yeah. Let's see. 11. I love 11. That's a documentary. The beginning skip part is funny. I don't know why it makes me laugh, even though it's kind of like
It's kind of dumb, but
racist
it's funny,
and dumb. But I don't know. It's like a little black kid talking to like a some type of Asian
That's from,
shopkeeper or
that's a
something.
movie,
I think it's from a
isn't it?
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it might be from Menace to Society or something, honestly. But yeah, I like the beat. I put one of the better beats for me. I put one of my favorites. I like the harpsichord in the beginning, the piano throughout the song, and then I like the lyrics referencing all the classic rap albums on the hook, which are Ready to Die, Reasonable Doubt, The Chronic, Doggy Style, The Death Certificate, All Eyes on Me, The Illmatic, and then he mentions the documentary along with those. I thought that was a nice.
I did hear
touch.
that he references the album, right?
His album and the other ones.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
it is a little odd to me that it's fun. I liked it. I like the 16th, 17th. You mentioned the harpsichord, like that type of beat though, is always fucking A+ for me. Especially in rap shit where they can do that, and then somebody like fucking comes in on it.
I give it a 4.5. I like this one a lot. Bobby.
Yeah. Fucking right on.
I think also, like, alternatively, this one or Put You on the Game could have been the opening song instead of West Side Story. Do I like West Side Story as the opening or whatever? I'm just saying I could also have seen these two, especially being that the song is called The Documentary and the album's a documentary.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. 12, we got Running featured Tony Ayo and Dion. This one's meh. I don't really like it that much. I like the one sample of the hook, but Tony Ayo's not a really good rapper, and
No, you nailed it right there. The hook's all right.
it's like a 2.5 at most for me.
Yeah, I thought it was a whatever song, but the line, it's like, then I go out like the Bobby Fischer of hip hop, and I was like, all right, I like that one a little bit.
clever.
13, No More Fun in Games. That is another Just Blaze beat. I put interesting beat that gets better as it goes along.
It's progressive.
It's got some funky, like 1970s, 80s funk into it. Then it goes and samples the gangster.
Yes, the
Gangsta.
NWA, yeah. I love the game's flow on it. And
how white did I just say? Do you know the gangster one?
I love the incorporation of the NWA song into the beat, like you just mentioned, Woj. And then he has a cool line where he says, he uses Shaq's name, but like a shack, like a outhouse thing. For Yao, and he says Yao Ming, like Yao Ming Shack or something. I forgot what the line was.
Yeah, I forget that. It was a nice call.
I gave it 3 stars. I like this. It's pretty good. At that. 14, we got We Ain't featuring Eminem. Again, this is one of the best songs I put on the album. One of the best beats. Eminem produced it, and it shows. Is what I put. My favorite feature on the album, I think Eminem. Great hook. 5 stars for me.
You can't go wrong with Eminem, and the game in the song has a line about like, and Eminem is like the sickest or something like that, and I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
Like recognize
Shady's one of the greatest.
Yeah, in the song he's shouting them out. I did enjoy that, and then Shady gets on the mic. He's like, and then does his thing. Yeah,
and he actually, I think at M's concert, the Games concert, I think M came out and did this song with him recently. Nice. It was kind of cool to see.
Fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
15, Where I'm From, featuring Nate Dogg. I put funky bass line, great guitar and bass on the beat, and then Nate Dogg's always amazing on hooks, obviously. It gives it a true West Coast sound.
Mm-hmm. It did, yeah.
I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, solid track.
I like the beat.
Yeah, and then 16's another Nate Dogg feature, which I didn't like how they did that. Like
1, 2.
You should space the Nate Dogg out more. It was kind of weird to go back to back. That's special. I didn't like this one really.
Skip it.
It's kind of a generic.
Skip, sorry.
Not my favorite. The game has good flow on it, though. I gave it like a 2 to 2.5, but it's not my favorite. 17, Don't Worry, featuring Mary J. Blige. Again, this is probably like the one I'd probably skip if I'm going to skip. I love the piano. Mary J. is a great voice, but I hate her parts in the song because the chorus sucks. Kind of goes on too long.
I hate that part because the chorus sucks.
But when the game kicks in and raps, the beat changes and it's good. Like it's awesome when he's on it. So I gave it a 2. Like I don't hate any of these songs, so I'm not going super low on any of these. But your guys' thoughts on that one?
I like the feature of Mary J. Blige, but overall the song was not not my cup. Again, on this song, there's so many better.
There's way better on the album.
Yeah.
Both talented. They didn't execute on how to exemplify both talents.
Great, Bob. He couldn't said it better. Next one's like the last one's like Father Like Son with featuring Busta Rhymes. Again, this one's a meh one for me. I like the beat with the violins. The string instrument sounds good. I put very 60s and 70s, kind of like throwback, like, you know, or Motown group kind of sound. And Busta Rhymes is good on the hook, but I think he should have more to do on it because Busta Rhymes is one of the best rappers, and you don't really use him.
Yeah, no, that was my only comment.
I gave it 2 stars.
I'd give him a little bit more than that, but Busta, yeah, you're right.
I go the other way because I think Busta Rhymes singing actually works.
I think it works. I just would have loved to have him have a verse too.
Yeah,
know?
being the claim to fame for Busta is his quick style of rapping. Yeah, you would think that you would include that, but I enjoyed it. Again, I think you touched on it a little bit. Is like some of the order of the songs. I think if you switched a couple of these bitches around, I would be definitely going like this is one of the best albums, like one of my favorite.
What song
albums.
would you finish on if you had to reorder?
I think you should do that one, the Just Blaze one, maybe the one where he turns the radio down could be the ending one. That one was decent.
Well, Put You on the Game would be a good one.
Put You on the Game could be a starter or an ender. I could see that. Definitely one, but better. Maybe even the other Just Blaze one you could end it with too. Number 13.
Or go nuts with it. Hate it or love it. Put it at the bottom.
Yeah,
that'd be cool to end on a solid track.
I thought overall though, pretty good order of songs for the most part, but the end kind of trails off, like you said, Woj. Like the last 3 are not strong; they're the weaker ones. You probably could have mixed them in more, and then going back to back Nate Dogg songs doesn't make sense. But other than that, that. So I would say, really quick, just to sum it up. Well, let me just give. If you guys have like your favorite, you know, maybe like 3 to 5 you want to mention, or your bottom 3, I'll just start it because I have it written down.
Sure.
How We Do for me, Hate It or then Hate It or Love It. Then I got We Ain't featuring Eminem. Then Put You on the Game. And then I think I had. Wait, where am I?
And he lost it.
No, I'm just saying we went over each one. Of these
West Side
tracks.
Story, yeah. So the last 3 are the ones that I would say it's the skips for me, and then the one in the what's it number 10
okay,
with the chick on it. Start from scratch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Sure.
You guys have any final thoughts you'd
I'm
like to
saying
give?
they put together a good fucking album.
Did you enjoy the album?
I enjoyed the shit out of this album.
All right, that's good. I'm glad because I bet you guys probably didn't know about it or you knew the game a little bit from the outside, but this is like an album like Serge used to play. He had this and he gave it to me, and we'd always listen to it.
My buddy Ramon back in the day got me onto this and Chameleonaire and all these other artists too. So it's kind of fun listening to his shit because you put that bass up in your cars way back when. Go Def.
This is definitely, like I said, I think a slept on album. It's just a really good
great
album, solid album. Now whoever's next, I'm gonna kick it to you.
That'd be me. We're going Pearl Jam 10. We're mixing it up a little bit. Pearl Jam. We're gonna do a little grunge.
Sick.
A little bit.
Okay, so that's what's coming up next.
I'm excited, actually.
Yeah.
We will be back in just a second. Bobby's pick currently.
This is the Maltese Falcon. We're going back to Humphrey Bogart, 1941. Mm-hmm. It is a good film, and granted, it's black and white shit. Technicolor, I think, was just invented or being invented or some point like this, but I really hope we could get into it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it for what it's worth. And like I said, I hope you put the lens on when it came out, and we'll dive into that.
Coming up.
Go get a beer.
All right. Peace.
Bye. All right, welcome back, Journeymen Lounge podcast listeners. We appreciate your tenure. We're going to be going over the Maltese Falcon. I'm going to just kind of do a little bit of background, give you guys a little bit of scoop of this movie, time, director, just a little bit of notes, and then we'll get your impressions, and then I'll do a synopsis. Deal?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Maltese Falcon came out in 1941. This is a noir crime movie. The director was John Huston. And you guys mentioned that little tidbit is related to
Angelica Houston.
There we go. So that was pretty cool. This had a ranking. So I was just curious, and I really don't give rankings all that much, or 7.9 IMDb and 99% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's shocking that Rotten Tomatoes is 99%. But go ahead.
This is a Warner Brother, film. Pretty cool. This is based out in San Fran. Let me just have a few other notes here. Malta was part of the Aragon and Castile Kingdom, which was West Spain. So that 1539 paid tribute with, this falcon to Charles V of Spain. That's accurate. He's part of the Holy Roman Empire. So I kind of enjoyed this, and also the use of the Wembley. This is a revolver from the late 1900s that was in fact used. So for what it's worth, I think that the historical accuracy that this film portrayed itself in was pretty cool. And this was also supposed to be filmed at the time of this film was 1928 December in San Fran. So
Okay.
this is just a year before the Great Depression. And just to kind of give you an idea of just what the value of $100 was, because they use a C note a bunch of times in this movie. $100 in today's value is $18.57, so almost close to $2,000.
Holy shit.
So him pimping
Wow.
out 10,000, you're doing well for yourself. That's just shy of $200K.
How much? We said $100. How much?
$100 equivalent to today is $1,850.
Damn. So she gave him like $500. She gave him like $5,000 or whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, a little bit more than
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
whatever. You know what I'm saying.
But so,
Damn.
I guess now that you guys have seen it, I know you have some mixed reviews, but what was what is your thought on this movie? Have you ever been exposed to films like this?
Before you do, you want to just give a brief synopsis
synopsis,
because
sure.
it's really 2 seconds.
Sure. That's fair. So this is, just as described, this huge crime mystery almost, if you will. You have these two detectives. You have Sam Spade and you have Miles Archer. They're detectives in San Fran, and essentially what this is a big caper almost in a sense, but with a lot of murder, on recovering an artifact that was supposed to be given to King Charles V, which was a gold falcon, as promised when they gained their independence, the Knights Templar, with a bunch of, jewels and just incredible worth of a artifact. I almost call it just shy of the Ark of the Covenant in terms of what its value could be. Now, it was kicked around throughout the centuries, through Paris, through Greece, and Turkey, I think Istanbul at that point. I'm not sure if Turkey was the name of the country, but
Whatever, yeah.
and eventually they found that it was stolen in a recent robbery, and his crew, Gutman's crew, is basically trying to secure it. So it's in transit, and there's a lot of players that know about it.
Yeah, so Mary Astor
Yep.
comes to Sam Spade.
to basically
Humphrey
create
Bogart.
a setup. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically lying to him, saying like, "Oh, I'm trying to find my sister," but in reality, she is trying to locate the.
It's a dual pronged effect. She's trying to get rid of Floyd Thursby,
right,
as well as set up and kind of remove a few of the pawns out of the game.
Right. And she knows. I guess she had a deal, I believe, with one other guy, the Cairo guy, maybe that. The Maltese Falcon, they were going to get it from somebody else. Cairo and her are at odds and ends as well. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of backstabbing and all that shit.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it ends with
Are you still with us, Ryan?
I am. Sorry. This guy aggressively hugged Roger Goodell. He's going to fall down. I'm sorry. I'm paying attention.
I was just placing that.
No, and like I said, I think that, and Woj would disagree, I think there's a cerebral storyline that you have to pay attention. It might not be executed well, but in terms of knowing the characters, listening to the dialogue to better understand the development of this Maltese Falcon, recovery, I think it's important. That's all.
I just, again, you use the word cerebral. I think of something that is obviously makes you think a lot more than, in my mind, this is a simple, yes, you don't know who is lying all the time or who's telling the truth or whatever, but the plot remains the same. The Maltese Falcon is a priceless artifact. Mm-hmm. Everybody's trying to get their hands on it.
Right.
Then,
Yes, the more intricate part comes in who's on whose team or who's trying to do it.
But playing with their lives. I kind of like that idea.
True, but I would just say a criticism out of the gate is that 1940s, I don't know if they just didn't expect a lot out of the audience. They tell the plot. They tell exactly what's happening. They're very upfront with the exposition. I just feel like Mary at one point just tells the entire plot to Sam of oh, I lied to you. I'm sorry. In in the
Right, no,
in like a
eventually-
2-minute speech is just like, I did all of this. It's like,
But if you're in Sam's position, I know there's lies peppered with truth in there. Like, I guess that's his
Well,
thing. He's like, pay me enough where I could ignore the lies.
yeah, I mean, Sam is definitely just money hungry.
And he's a philanderer. He has his partner, Miles Archer, he has an entanglement with his wife. His wife basically confronted him, wanted a divorce. Miles kind of put that to, just he's like, no, that's not fucking happening. And then soon thereafter, Miles dies.
Sure.
And then he gets in the, basically entangled with Bridget, who's basically, would kill him probably given the opportunity.
I'm sorry. Mary Astor is the actor's name. It is Bridget O'Shaughnessy.
Yep.
Sorry,
So the Sam Spade is quite a, I'd say morally, moving target, like moral compass, moving target. But eventually he does hand her over to the police and kind of do the right thing, or at least avenge his partner.
He's saving his ass.
I think he's
dude.
saving his ass, but at the same
He broke just as many fucking laws as those other
right.
people.
No, so like I said, I think he's in really murky water himself. All right, so what are your thoughts, Ryan? Just kind of out of the gate thoughts. We're not trying to dive into it too much,
Here
and then
is
I'm
the
going to go over
pitch.
the cast.
I'll try and be nice first.
No, don't be nice. Be honest.
No, well, this movie's not for me.
Okay, I figured it would be.
I tend not to like too many older movies. Like usually, it's not. I don't know. It's not like a personal thing. I guess it's a personal thing. It's not like against them. I mean, though, like because I gave it a chance. I watched it.
You gave it a chance.
It did not.
I appreciate
it did not grip me. It was a little hard to follow at times.
I can agree
and
with that.
Didn't always hold my attention like I would have liked to. Now, granted, again, this is made in 1941, so I'm taking that into account.
Right. Poland hasn't been invaded
Like,
yet.
movies have been around for maybe 20 years or something.
Silent movies have been around for a little bit, and
So,
then
like,
they just brought
They're
in.
just starting out, so I'm sure this inspired works that I would like later on, and it could not exist without this. So for that, I appreciate
Right,
that.
and that's right. This is more of an appreciation
But
movie.
for me personally, it was a hard watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, for me, usually as far back as I go is like the 60s, and like even that's kind of far. Like 70s usually is like
I understand.
more of like modern movies when they kind of started to develop like how we view them. Like there's like a certain
Je ne
way
sais quoi.
people shoot them, a formula, if you will, like
Well, it just looks
a
better.
look.
Sure.
But
I like the cultural relevancy of this because they are, like you said, they just kicked off the training wheels. They're seeing what works, what doesn't, what type of film, techniques work, what don't.
Humphrey Bogart, I think, definitely carries the movie.
He does, yeah.
He's one of those iconic, like, see, like
Right.
those type
It's
of...
a
Yeah,
very
the vaudeville.
It's
Yeah.
a
voice.
very
Yeah.
specific cadence of like,
yeah.
you're gonna do what I tell you to do.
And we have a few read-throughs that if we come along,
yeah.
we'll give it a
No,
try.
I've watched, like I said, you had another one on your list, Double Indemnity,
Double
which came out
Indemnity.
3 years later.
Yep.
And I remember thinking that was decent. I saw it in college. It's been a long time. But, so I'm not opposed to all these movies,
Right.
but this one just didn't really click
Yeah,
with me.
I had a selection for us to kind of work through, and it was
Yeah.
kind of by contest. But we landed on this one. I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Let's go through the cast real quick. So Humphrey Bogart plays Sam Spade. Peter Lorre, or Laurie, I'm not sure.
I think it's Laurie.
Plays Joel Cairo. Sidney Greenstreet plays Casper Gutman. You have Mary Astor, who plays Bridget O'Shaughnessy. Lee Patrick, which I thought was a guy's name, but no, it's Effie Perrine, the assistant or
The
the
secretary?
Secretary, yep.
Angel.
Alicia Cook Jr. plays Wilmer Cook. Iva Archer is played by Gladys George. Miles Archer is played by Jerome Cohen. Luke is played by James Burke. And the detective Tom Paulus is Ward Bond. And Detective Dundee is Barton McLean. Cool. So
Cool.
there is the cast. There's
Well, just mention with the cast. I think
Did I miss someone?
no. I think it's a small cast. Small cast works because they didn't have any fucking money. They can't pay 30 fucking people here. But Humphrey Bogart was the only person I've heard of in the cast.
Yeah, same.
John Huston, I have heard
Oh,
before
yeah, the director.
in terms
Mary
of
Astor also had a
director.
career.
But I will just throw out though, like a person that I think kind of stole or like at least competed with Humphrey Bogart was Sidney Greenstreet, who played Gutman.
Yeah.
Like I thought his cadence and his kind of villainous kind of, you know,
He was a gentleman villain. I
was
loved it.
very much like, okay, at least he kind of went toe to toe. Unfortunately, everybody else, like Joe Cairo, was trying, like, kind of playing the meek, like whatever guy.
Kind of like a fop.
Yeah, it's just like a little, like, again, it's not. Nobody else opposite of Humphrey Bogart was like really to when they had those scenes together. I just kind of thought like, okay, now we're in some fucking good dialogue, some back and forth, and I think a couple of our read-throughs are with both of those guys too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a read-through basically, which it's more towards the final sequence, basically explaining that, hey, my life is valuable because I know where the object is.
We're gonna do the
and
read-through.
The cash that you could provide, is basically a tightrope. You kill me, you get nothing. We play ball, enough to play ball, but we need a fall guy because there's a lot of crime that occurred. We need someone to at least go down for it. So,
Sure. We're gonna do the read-through.
yeah,
at
let's
some
do the
point, right?
read-through. You want to do that? That's more towards the final scene. I was going to open it up to scenes first,
mean-
and then we'll hit some read-throughs.
Okay, let's do the scenes, and then you tell me where the read-throughs
All right,
come
that's
in,
fair.
because I really have
You have a
just
hard time
hand-
kind of picking them together, guys.
Well, I don't know where they occur.
Sure.
So, one thing I will enjoy always in movies is like there is this first like opening credits basically where they are explaining a little bit about the history of the Maltese Falcon and why it's important. I think it was a sign of the times, but it definitely helps at least a little bit without them going through a scene of literally stating that verbatim. I like how they kind of get it out of the way
Well, it's,
just to go, hey, this is what we're
I actually like
talking
the
about.
history by Gutman, like
And it's
explaining
historic
the
and-
development.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like what Star Wars did. They took it from the movies like this, the
Right.
opening crawl, where it sets you up with everything. So now you
Gives
don't
you
have
a
to,
brief narrative,
You
yeah.
don't have to have a character say it, or whatever.
Very true. I just think it works with this type of movie, given that it's like, hey, this is about this object. You need to know it's important, but it would be a lot cheesier if they just came out and Sam was like, well, this is the most important artifact that we've ever seen. It's like, okay, you just
To Sam, I think this was just a giant payday, and I mean, understandably so. But go through a few scenes.
The
and then we'll get to it.
again, I said scenes with Gutman, and then I have Sam's monologue at the end. Those are my favorite scenes.
I like the beginning, the shot of Miles getting shot, the POV
Yeah.
with the revolver, where it's like you don't know who's killing him, but then you see him get
Yeah, it's
killed,
kinda-
and
yeah.
they investigate that afterwards. Kind of the cops intimidating him, and then being like "fuck you" or whatever.
Because I think they're aware of his extramarital affair, and then his he didn't go and check out the scene or talk to his wife after your partner dies. Like he did a lot of code, ethical issues. That's no, you stop by, you don't tell your secretary to call her and say, oh, by the by, your husband died.
First Spade's first meeting with Cairo, where he pulls the gun on him.
Yeah,
and,
I'm gonna search the office.
He
Yeah,
knocks
the little
him.
pea
He
shooter.
knocks him out, which is kind of funny. Their version of action in the 40s.
I loved it.
Very
it was
like
cheesy as shit. Yeah, I know. Quick jab to the jaw. And
Hey,
he just
see, now
goes
you're
down.
knocked out. See.
His vaudeville voice.
And then he lets him wake up and gives him the gun back anyway, and then
Yeah, he gives him the gun back and he holds him up
lets
again.
him look at the office. I don't know.
He's like, all right, fine, go ahead. You have my,
And the last one I had was just when Spades he gets slipped the Mickey.
Oh
And
yeah,
he passes out in the hotel room after meeting. I never his name. I put with Fatty and his henchman. Gutman. Sorry.
Gutman, yeah. One of my scenes I liked is when he was walking in the hotel lobby. This is after the police just questioned Cairo and probably beat his ass, at the police station to corroborate the story that they put together on the spot from all that chaos that ensued when he shut the parlor door. So it's like you can't come in. You could stay at the door.
Oh yeah.
So being able to, as you have to be intelligent enough to keep that story and figure out, because there was a lot of pieces thrown together. But he said something like, "Hey, if you would have told him the truth, we'd both be in the cooler. Basically, we'd both be,
I don't know if you know this,
behind
Bobby.
bars."
Question.
Yeah.
So that scene. So then the cops eventually come in because the Cairo guy
Screamed help,
screams
yeah.
and he's bleeding, and then he says that the chick did it. But
Yeah,
then
Bridget
later,
did it, yeah.
Humphrey Bogart's like, "No, I told them all to say that, so you would come in here and blah blah blah, and then they
He's
go.
a quick thinker.
They go, but so he was just bullshitting,
He was
right?
bullshitting, yeah.
And they went along with it instinctively.
Yeah.
They just knew. Okay,
Because they said the alternative is they start to poke a lot of holes.
I couldn't tell what was like false and what was.
No. Everything that came out of his mouth around like the excuses were all bullshit.
I was
for the
like,
most
was
part.
that planned? Is that what, or was he just?
No, he's
saying
stringing
that?
together enough
Okay.
credible information to make it so it's okay, like believable.
I think the lens that you have to look through here is that in the 40s you could get away with anything at any time,
so long as it made.
And I mean,
somewhat
again,
sense.
they obviously they didn't do a great job of like the cops doing any cop work where
No.
Humphrey Bogart, Sam Spade is just basically like, get out of here,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
And he was like,
Well,
oh,
they
there's
didn't
like,
have evidence to arrest.
well, it's
him.
like there's a guy bleeding, and they're like, nah, we're just gonna.
Well, no, they said, hey, if you want to press charges, I'll press. They basically said we could take you both down, and we could, sort
I'm
this
saying
out.
in the scope of like even in the last 40 years, if somebody is like, hey, I'm bleeding, and there's a woman there, and obviously she's distressed, they're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna take you guys downtown to at least question you or do something.
Sometimes, like my
That's-
brother, he's a police officer. He'll
Sure.
just say, "Hey, is there someone you could stay with for the night?" and just kind of de-escalate.
All I'm saying is that just again,
Okay.
it's a common theme even with every cop movie that doesn't do it well. Is just like it's just a lack of procedure, which I try not to hold against movies, but like in this movie, they go just so far. But like even though Sam is a private investigator, I've actually heard that cops fucking hate private investigators sometimes. Like. And
because
they're like
they know how to
stepping-
gum up the works.
Well,
if they want
yeah,
to.
and they know their procedure, and they're like, "Hey, I
Well,
can
usually
do
they're like
this."
former law enforcement.
Former
So
law
this
enforcement,
actually
yeah.
brings me into the scene where we're going to do a table read where he's speaking with the district attorney. They're trying to develop a case, and they need his input, his knowledge on these folks to help, figure out what's going on. And that's the
Okay,
second one I
who's
gave you. I think it's the
Brian?
larger, starting with Brian. So we have Brian, Sam Spade. Brian is the DA, I believe, and then stenographer. So we have three different parts here. Who wants to be Sam? Who wants to be Brian? And who wants to take the
I
one-liner?
could try being Sam if you like.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll be Brian. You want to be the stenographer on this one, Woj?
I am the stenographer.
All right.
All right, I'll start this off. So who killed Thursby?
I don't know.
Perhaps you don't, but you could make an excellent guess.
I guess it might be excellent, or it might be crummy. My Mrs. Spade didn't raise any children dippy enough to make guesses in front of a district attorney, an assistant district attorney, and a stenographer.
Why shouldn't you? If you have nothing to conceal.
Everybody has something to conceal, see?
I'm a sworn officer of the law, 24 hours a day, and neither formality nor informality justifies you withholding evidence of crime from me, except, of course, on constitutional grounds.
Now, both of you and the police have much accused me of being mixed up in other murders. Well, I have trouble with both of you before. As far back as I can see, my best chance of clearing myself of any trouble trying to make for me is by bringing in the murders all tied up. The only chance I've got of catching them and tying them up and bringing them in is by staying as far away and as possible from you and the police because you'd only gum up the works. Oh.
Then he turns to the stenographer. There you go.
You getting all this, son, or am I going too fast for you?
No, sir, I'm getting it all right.
Good work, son.
I like that at the end. He's just like, good work, because he's given the business to the district attorney, assistant district attorney, in this scene, but he also has at least a little humor. He's like, you got all that? I don't know. I think there's a few nods of funny things. Now, one thing that I'm going to read through, and it's I need someone to be Gutman. It's the last one I sent. It's all of like 3 lines, where he disarms Wilmer, and basically hands the guns to Gutman. Is like, hey, nice try, but
Okay, you're Sam.
I'm going to be Sam.
All right, I'll be Gutman.
All right, here. I hand the guns over to Gutman. You shouldn't let him go around with these on him. He might get himself hurt.
Well, what's this?
A crippled newsie took him from him. I made him give him back. I thought that was funny as shit. He basically said he got pickpocketed or disarmed by some idiot.
I mean, he really shits on Wilmer
He
because
shits on Wilmer, and then he tries to make him
he's
the
a
fall guy.
little bit of a goon. I mean, we'll get to picking
He's
it.
a dumb hitman.
I'll save it for picking it. Do we just want to do the last scene then?
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I'm
We can
good
knock it
on scenes after this.
All right.
Yeah,
so-
I mean, a lot of scenes are just like people talking in a room,
All right.
accusing someone.
Then how
of
about you guys?
something.
One of you be Sam and one of you be Gutman, and it'll be the first one that I sent over. And then this is when they have the final interaction where they're trying to, negotiate the Maltese Falcon, and basically everyone's kind of putting their cards on the table. So that's
Who's who?
Who wants to be Sam? Who wants to be Gutman? I'm going to sit out on this one.
I'll be Sam, sure.
All right.
Go for it, see?
If you kill me, how are you going to get the bird? And if I know you can't afford to kill me, how are you going to scare me into giving it to you?
Well, sir, there are many other meanings of persuasion besides killing and threatening to kill.
Yes, that's true, but there's none of them any good unless the threat of death is behind them. You see what I mean? If you start something, I'll make it a matter of having you kill me or call it off.
That's an attitude, sir, that calls for the most delicate judgment on both sides. Because, as you know, sir, in the heat of action, men are likely to forget where their best interests lie and let their emotions carry them away.
Then the trick from my angle is to make my play strong enough to tie you up, but not make you mad enough to bump me off against your better judgment.
By God, sir, you are a character. There's never any telling what you'll say or do next, except that it's bound to be something astonishing.
That's actually a pretty good Gutman voice, I'm not going to lie.
That was pretty good.
Was
yeah.
it? Honestly,
Yeah.
like
I thought you did a real good job.
I pulled that out of my ass. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm happy
pretty
you
good.
guys liked it.
No, it
Pretty
came
good
out well
bonus.
because I think Gutman is one of my favorite characters. I mean, Sam Spade
Sidney
is
Greenstreet, yeah.
obviously does a great job, Humphrey Bogart, but I think you need you need someone like him to be the articulate gentleman of what you consider a bad guy, but he's just trying to hunt down a relic, but he also is.
I mean, he's shady.
He's shady as shit because he has a hitman that, hey, I got a problem. Go solve that. He kind of lets him off the leash to do his bidding. I know that there's in many scenes we've done a few quotes. The one quote that I liked was you have Cairo who meets him also in the same hotel lobby. He's like, yeah, I don't want to have any more private conversations with you. Based on the history of previous, experiences, I'd rather not. So he's like, that's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah, I got a lot of one-liners
There's
out
a great-
of
yeah, go ahead.
Sam Spade. Like he did, and then granted, 1940s, a lot of sexism and women are
yeah.
definitely
He
treated.
calls the one
Now
girl-
listen, precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, what else do we have? Oh, we believed you $200. Let's see.
Calls the one girl angel all the time. The one woman.
Yeah, but he's like,
X-ray.
the $200 made us believe you enough, I forget the line. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Don't crowd me, Tom. When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it.
I got one too. This is when Sam Spade, and this is actually something I picked up on right away during the point of view scene where his partner gets killed. Miles hadn't many brains, but he had too many years of experience as a detective to be caught like that by a man he was shadowing up a blind alley with his gun still tucked away on his hip and his overcoat buttoned. But he would have gone up there with you, Angel. He was just dumb enough for that. He would have looked you up and down and licked his lips and gone, grinning from ear to ear. So I really thought that kind of, he already knew the scene. He knew that his partner had to have been with someone that he felt either trusted enough or, someone he didn't see as a threat. So I thought that was at least a good pickup.
Yeah.
I think I got one more. That was a good one, though, from you.
I don't mind a reasonable amount of trouble. I like that one.
I'm a man who likes to talk. Talking to a man who likes to talk.
Yeah, so this is the Cairo one, which I kind of liked, and this is during the negotiations. Might I remind you, Mr. Spade, that you may have the Falcon, but we certainly have you. So it's like we're pretty much at a Mexican standoff. Like, all right, your life is, we could kill you right here, right now, and it wouldn't be a problem. But at the same time, you're holding the one thing that we've been spending 17 years and counting, trying to secure. And one thing that I liked as part of the authenticity of the movie was when he knocks out Cairo and searches through his pockets. It's a quick, you'd have to pay attention, but he has a Greek passport, a Swiss passport, and a British passport. Some money from each one of those, and some other things like that, and like notepad and what have you. But I was like, okay, he had all three passports. When they start to mention like, hey, this was around Greece, they had to go to Istanbul and all
Yeah,
these,
it follows
and
the
London.
plot.
So he was getting himself. I'm not sure if they were fake passports, but passports nonetheless from 3 different countries. So you knew right out of the gate he might appear to be some soft piece of shit, but he's cunning. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think a pretty famous line, honestly, in just movie history is, "You imbecile." It's pretty famous. I know a lot of other movies copied that. I do like when Gutman just kind of refers to him as like, "You are a character, sir." Slip Me a Mickey, which Mickey is referring to the Roofalin. Roofalin? You keep saying that
I'll be a
word.
Doug.
And then the last one I got is Keep On Eyeing Me, and they'll be picking iron out of your liver.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, and then he says the lousier the. Hold on, I'll get this one. I have it. The cheaper the crook, the gaudier the patter. I like that. Keep on riding me, and you're going to be picking iron out of your liver. Yeah, that was a good one.
Should we dip soundtrack? I got like 3 things.
Sure. So there wasn't much in terms
you
of
have
soundtrack.
something?
I think this was scores.
It's a classic score of the time. It's very much in the noir kind of category of like these kind of strings, like tension type building things, and they're trying to make it more, devious than it is. I put sinister and grand at times.
Sure.
Lots of in-between scenes. They always had woodwinds playing. It's very common for the early 1940s and 50s and stuff like that. That's just kind of how those movies were put together.
Transitions weren't that great.
The last part I would mention is that it reminds Indiana Jones now reminds me of that score as they're going through certain scenes. So I think obviously John Williams did Indiana Jones, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He definitely took, I think, some from the Maltese Falcon or that time period for sure.
So that's what I'm saying. I think this is a cultural piece. I think there's definitely stuff to be taken from this. Now, deaths in order because this might have been confusing in by who. So Miles Archer was killed by Bridget. Floyd Thursby was killed by Wilmer. And at the very end, the Captain Jacoby is also killed by Wilmer, but that one was kind of messed up. He did a poor job, and he set the boat aflame, and the boat's name was La Paloma, where the cargo of that, which was wrapped up in all those newspapers and bound, was this Maltese Falcon. They found out that the enamel on this Falcon just ended up being that it was a MacGuffin, which I learned that that
it's a plot device.
Where basically it doesn't have any value, but it kind of moves the story forward. But for me, I thought like this represents greed. I mean, that's essentially what it is in both Spade and Gutman. Like, hey, here's someone who maybe not greed, but maybe a search for something, or
I think you're trying to apply bigger themes than
what it actually is.
To me, it's a simple, like, straightforward, like, this is a priceless artifact, and when you have it, Gutman put out up to $1 million in this, and if you're
right, and I gave you that $100
inflation number
was worth $1,800
so
back
that's,
then. So
that's coming
$1 million
up
is what, 18 million or something?
No, 187.
180, yeah, 80, yeah,
move
exactly.
the decimal
180,
over.
yeah.
So I mean, dude, that type of one thing, especially in those days, I feel like you hit it on the head with greed. It's just simply greed. Sam finds out, oh shit, this is how
it's a
much
quick payday,
it's worth.
Baby.
I think that's kind of the thing. I mean,
I don't consider him so much the hero of this by any means. I almost consider him like he like I said, he slept with his partner's wife. Mm-hmm. He was trying to get in bed with Bridget, who he knew to be a liar and a cheat, and anything that came out of her mouth was basically horse shit.
Sure.
But I like that how he navigated from A to B and just trying to pick his battles where he could. I mean, at that point, he knew that his back was getting pretty much pushed up against the wall, and he had to figure a way out. So.
I'm gonna dip real quick because it seems like Ryan doesn't have shit for these next two categories.
Mm-hmm.
Switcheroo. I love Jimmy Stewart. He should be in all of these.
Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, it's from.
As what character you think you'd be?
It doesn't matter where.
Add a character for him.
He's an actor of that time that I very much enjoy, and It's a Wonderful Life.
This is actually
whatever else he's been in. I just like to, and honestly, he's one of the only actors I know of that time that would kind of fit in. He could play like a detective. He could play kind of like a scummier piece of shit type of guy. I think it would fit in very well.
Okay.
Did you have anything for that or no? Not you, Ryan.
I don't know.
Spinoffs, prequels, sequels. I actually would like to see the pirating of the Maltese Falcon back like the first time. Like,
this was picked up by pirates.
They said like 1500s,
in 1539, the Maltese put it on one of the Crusader like ships that were going back to Spain. With some merchandise, and pirates just said
Yeah, I would like to see that
see
movie,
that situation,
especially in like 1940s. It does look cheesy, but at least you can kind of like be like, okay, like they're doing with what they had available. And
Right.
it's like, okay, you can do this, but back in 1500s. I think it's about time to get to the picky nits here.
Yeah, let's go picky nits.
Okay.
And here's the list.
Right. Just straight jumping scenes. I think after the initial killing of one of Thursby or the other guy, it cuts immediately. Like this, like not even well done. It just like seems like they either fucked up the film or something. They did it at another time in the movie too, where they just were like, and like they were stopped talking, and then it was just like, okay. And just
next scene.
Cut next scene. I'm like, not a really great transition there. Anybody else? I'll keep peppering them
I would
in.
just say, I think to make this better, not granted again, he knows it's made in 1941. Maybe improve the action a little bit. They have was kind of cheesy. Their action was like a very quick, like a chop or like a, when he disarms
just
them.
a little
So better,
quick-
I guess, better
quick
physical
jab.
practical effects.
Maybe throw in a couple like shootout scenes.
They
or
did
something.
break one glass during that.
Maybe
like,
a car chase of some sort.
oh, that could have been.
Again, I know it's 1941, but they still had
I think they could have done.
serials back then. They could do things like that where it's like, hey, maybe they have the Falcon or they're chasing someone who thinks has the Falcon, and then
You're right, because the whole La Paloma scene, that boat fire, like that would have been cool to actually dive
Dude,
into that
they
scene a little bit.
just showed him talking to the guy
Yeah.
out, and then they cut away.
it
It's
was
like
just a lot.
So there's some plot gaps.
a
for
lot.
Sure.
I mean, pretty much every scene was like, we're talking in this room, we're talking in this room, we're talking in this room, we're talking in this room. You lied to me, you lied to me, you lied to me. No, I'm lying to you. I don't know. It was.
I don't think that there was so many rooms, but I get what you're talking about. There was a lot
It
of.
would have been break. It would have been nice to have a nice break,
shit.
a nice breakup of a little couple. Like
Couple
that's why I like the
action
one scene where the guy gets murdered with the POV shot of that. That was cool. It was different from the rest of the movie.
I'm wondering, like, at what point was that? Maybe the first POV? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean
doubt
that
it,
was
but-
like I said. I don't know. They're figuring out how to make movies still at the time. So obviously, like movies that would come later would learn from these types of movies and build on that. So, but I think that could have helped for me.
right. No, okay. Those are all valid.
Speaking of like the shots and stuff like that don't work, I'm just not a fan of the classic close up of two people embracing, like it happens in Casablanca too.
oh, like
where
the
they're
kiss
just like,
or that.
oh,
Force. Yeah,
and
I
the
get
woman
ya.
is like fawning. I'm like,
I like
ah.
Casablanca, man.
I'm
I
just
get
saying
you.
that one scene though. I feel like of
that
the
was also
time,
an option.
of the time it just kept happening. Let's just go into the paper headline showing way too much information. Says exactly what the investigation. This guy is investigate. Like it said
Well,
something.
they connected. The one thing that I'll say this: the murder is being connected. I'm glad they at least pointed it out because I believe
I'm just saying in terms of like an investigation, you don't put it on the front page.
dude, in the
headline.
40s or in
Front
1928.
page headlines. that you-
1928.
An
They might have.
open investigation.
Why not?
No fucking shot, dude.
Dude, okay,
That's
I'm just saying
no.
1928. I could imagine.
We're not
a
in.
new,
Yeah,
that was when it was based out of.
Sorry.
I'm thinking that a news story would pick this up and put whatever and any information together to try to sell papers.
Nah,
right.
I disagree. We already said it before, but he gives Cairo the gun back. What
Yeah,
the fuck
that was
is
silly.
that?
I released when I took out the bullets and be like, here you go, it's a piece of metal.
At one point, like Bridget is like you can start to see that they're kind of like falling for each other. Like there's more tension there, and then like he just walks up and kisses her like in the middle of the scene.
Right, that was a little forced.
and then like they
Yeah.
go back to talking, and I'm like, you trying to do the love part or like you're not? And then at the end of it, it's like a double cross.
He sells her up the river, though, basically says,
yeah.
hey, I hope they don't hang you.
Wild fucking concept. Don't take drinks from the fucking guy who's clearly trying to go against you in this whole.
Yeah, I didn't get why they keep meeting up. Aren't they going for the same thing?
Well, they're trying to be kind of like Sam knows
cat
more
and mouse
information than Gutman at the time. But like again, like Sam is a smart enough guy to know like Gutman is out for him. He will kill you to get to the
But he
statue.
knew that he needed to stay alive because if they killed him at that point, like I said, I think he was gambling with his life, but he's like, they're not going to do something that basically mitigates them getting this,
I
artifact.
mean,
You just don't take drinks from a fucking active villain.
that's fair.
I think for me, it's just like movies have done this kind of thing better that have come out since. Like
Of course they
like
did.
Indiana Jones, let's say Raiders of the Lost Ark, where it's like they're going for the Ark of the Covenant. The different forces.
Competing, yeah.
They're competing for the most time, and maybe occasionally they'll run into each other for like a.
That'd be a fun switch over. He's going for the Ark of the Covenant, and you see the Maltese Falcon in the same room.
Is that not? I thought that might have been
because it was the Knights Templar, which
I don't remember, and I could be absolutely wrong.
No, I'm just saying that'd be a cool little
let me get it out. What I'm
I'll
saying.
let you finish.
I'm saying in Indiana Jones, I want to say in the storage room of all of those artifacts, I may be bullshitting, but I thought that they maybe made a nod to the Maltese Falcon in that, where they
might
have like
to Google that. I
like
think
a
they might have
statue.
been
I'll put it. I'll put it
You're
up
talking
here.
about like the room with the top that's been taken of top men,
Yes.
or whatever. Top men.
The
are
big
watching.
warehouse, right?
Yeah, the big warehouse. I want to say there's like a quick Easter egg in that of some
It
sort.
very well could be.
But we'll double check that one. In terms of the checking whether it's real, hey, how do I make sure this is a real artifact? Let me just fuck it up with a knife real quick. He's just like chopping at the artifact.
He's chipping away at the enamel.
And then he's like, oh, it's fake. It's like, okay.
So my question is, I guess that's one of those like open-ended things. The ambiguity of that ending is, and he says this at the very end, which I like. This is stuff that dreams are made of. So like that kind of, this is all something that we're chasing. It's something that might not even exist. I think in that one point between A and B, whether it's the Russian dude who's the general or some other collector, they made a replica knowing that this thing is immensely, incredibly expensive if you want to go on the black market, but they probably made a replica just to save, face.
I mean, my theory would
You know,
probably
to
just be
push people off.
the import-export business of artifacts and just like, any priceless items. I feel like there's just always a black market and a replica business of that's my guess, is that there is just like umpteenth amount of Maltese Falcons. Nobody knows which one is the real one, but everybody's chasing after.
That's what I'm wondering, though. You throw enough, I guess, decoys out there, they won't even know the real one. The real one's probably still sitting with the owner, in their house or in their mansion somewhere.
I mean, that would be the smart thing, is to make a replica and give them a fucking...
So, like I said, I like the ambiguity a little bit of it. But, yes, picky Nits, the transitions, you guys all mentioned that. I think that's... And the callousness, people are dying, but it's just like, that one dude died right there on his couch. I know that you have to be reactive. Hey, you're in a dire situation. You can't sit there and contemplate and, have like a sad moment.
You would think he has a hotter girlfriend than that, right?
Right, we're watching the draft.
Sorry to interrupt you. My bad.
No, it's all good. But
damn,
I get you. Like I said, I think that this was done well. Like Humphrey Bogart. Let's just put a.
It's Humphrey Bogart's like one of his most iconic, I would assume.
Let's put a bow on this. So this
ratings.
Yeah, let's do ratings.
Who wants to start?
Stream it. Skip.
You start, Woj.
Oh, I take that back. Humphrey Bogart was in Casablanca, right?
Yep. I think so.
That would probably be his most famous one.
But this one's right up there.
Close second. All right, I'm gonna start it, and I'm gonna make a first ever on the podcast. I'm gonna give it 2 ratings, okay? And the reason for that is because of the age of the film has to take into account that there are just simply evolutions in film that make a film, like you can make a film like this today, that the type of plot infinitely better, and I think that film could be like a Oscar-winning film as opposed to this, which I don't think you could ever qualify this as Oscar. I don't even know if it did make the Oscars, but
I don't think Oscars existed at that point.
I have no idea. We don't fact check shit. For a movie podcast, we probably should know when the Oscars are on, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it 2 ratings. 1 rating of a rating incorporating all of the things of like 1941, going like, okay, if you saw this in 1941,
gotcha.
what would you the lens of 1941? Would I be seeing this going like, this is great, I do enjoy that? That rating, I'd probably give it like a 7.4. Okay? Like the content of it, the plot, I enjoy that enough that, again, even I can look past like, okay, they didn't cut well or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Okay, 7.4. In the context of today and the fact that movies have evolved, I get that, but in general, sitting down to watch this movie today, I'm gonna go with a 4.1.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in my ranking system, it's borderline unwatchable today's.
All right, that's at least fair.
I'm gonna echo that. again, for me, it doesn't have it's made, not that it's made before, but like things that I look for. I like in a movie, like good dialogue, good characters are relatable, something I can relate to in the movie. Maybe some, it gets me excited, like action or suspense. Didn't really have for me in those aspects.
Right, there's lacking there in some of the action sequences.
It's in the 40s, so I understand.
They have
but this was really hard for me to get through. It was like in an hour 40. It felt
hour
like
40.
4 hours.
Yep.
This
it was your chopped and
this for
screwed,
me.
huh?
This made 2001: A Space Odyssey look like Jurassic Park. Or what I mean is like that, and I my thoughts on that weren't that great either. So I'm gonna say I'm happy that this could inspire later works for things that I would like, and I'm sure they needed this. But for me personally, that would be a skip for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
sorry, I would say
I would
skip.
assume a skip.
And you know what? It's gonna be a low grade for me. It's gonna be a 3.5.
3.5. All right. I expected as much, guys. I understand your different tastes in movies. Like I said, I've done different selections for mine just to kind of add some cultural,
I was just gonna say I appreciate you taking
a chance,
right? Like I know you went into
stuff.
it being like it's probably gonna be unpopular, but I want to mix it up. I respect it.
We had 5 different ones that we were kind of going through. Casablanca was one of them. You said Double Indemnity. There's a few others that were part of our just random selection and ended up on this one. But like I said, I think for the primary audience, I would say if you come across this on TV and you're not up to shit and you just kind of are relaxing, see it through maybe, or check out a few scenes because, like I said, I think there is some cultural relativity to this and what movies we know of now. So I think that it's worth, at least if it's on TV, check it out. Me personally, I'd stream it if it's available. And I had the time. I'd give this one a 7.1. Reason being is I still think the dialogue was good. Scenes were kind of thrown together quickly, and I think they try to develop the plot and characters, in a very, I guess, hastily way. There could be more action, like the fire on the boat. There could have been a chase scene. There could have been a shootout. There could have been more. But I think that, Humphrey Bogart does a great job. What was it? Mary Astor, she does a good job. And, Sidney Greenstreet. I think there were some big players there that did good enough that warranted it. But that's it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I said, it's not the type of movie I'm used to watching and that I would, I watch often. Like I said, I'm more into
right.
the more modern day, which would come on.
Right. This is more of a history lesson for the
let's
journeyman
say
here.
the way we view movies, the way they make them is probably more maybe like late 70s, 80s even, let's say.
Sure.
That's more of my shtick, my stuff I like, but that's...
All right, we appreciate it. I know this was a challenge for you guys, but like I said, I'd like to throw out a few randos every once in a while.
I did get it for free, though, at the Schaumburg Library.
Perfect.
So.
Way to use the library.
Yeah.
Who's next on the... Yeah, we're doing the... Go ahead.
Yeah, it's me, right?
We're doing Val Kilmer week, is that? Yeah,
yeah, we're going to set up Val Kilmer. I did want to just finish on the... Just, again, your selections in general, Bobby. I think... the Journeymen Lounge podcast and everybody watching, the millions upon millions of people.
I hope we eventually get to 200. That'd be cool. Scraping by.
I just think that everybody's opinionated about what, we're obviously doing an opinionated version.
Yeah, this is all subjective.
Of a review show. Yeah. But when you go just dialing back the clock, I think everybody has to be aware of the fact that, again, I spoke to it, of the evolution of movies. They can do things better. It looks better. I think you're just going to relatively have a lower score.
Oh, as expected.
The further back you go into really the infancy of movies. As you get, I would say, really into the where you appreciate the older look of it, like a Goodfellas, like the 70s, 80s. I feel like that is 70s, 80s, 90s into the 2000s is really where you get the prime cinema, the shit that you're like, these are all going to be, not all, but you can see
there's
this
more grandeur.
This is a perfect film. It's more completed, and the timing and the aspects of it doesn't take you out of it. Like in this, it really takes you out of it. Yeah. It's in black and white, which I know some people don't like. It's also, you got the you know, again, just we just did a whole review on it, so I'm not going to
Well,
go
the
back into
pacing
it.
is different, and you know,
It's a different culture of film where people would go into a theater back in 1941 in a fucking suit and tie.
Yeah, FDR was on their radio at home, you know.
there was
you
less
know.
things to watch, and like you know,
Right.
and granted, also like I said, this probably inspired filmmakers like Scorsese, like George Lucas, like Spielberg to do their own things.
Right.
So
their
I'm
own-
sure it's
Adaptation, interpretations. You take something from it. That's
yeah. I think it's definitely something that probably the more acclaimed directors do take from, and that's why their movies are great.
So
And
yeah, shout out to you know making that possible for movies that we would grow to love.
Yeah,
Right,
you have
exactly.
to show the
This is
appreciation.
the early building blocks.
Right.
You have to show the appreciation for the previous generations of movies, because I think they got us to where we're at now.
Right. It's like sports. Like, you know, people did it like basketball in the 50s and things doesn't look the same, but you know, people build off that, and then the next generation builds off that, and then they keep building and
It evolves, adapts,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's great.
All right, so we are going to start some Val Kilmer appreciation. He just passed away.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
So we'll just do another trifecta. I am going to start. Now, my choice of this one was in conjunction with the fact that the real fans know we did talk about Tombstone for about a 25-minute segment when Ryan first watched it way back when.
A year ago or whatever.
Yeah, this is like episode 7.
So we have at least talked about Tombstone. That would have normally been my pick for this, but I have a feeling that we are definitely going to do Tombstone
We will.
later
I
in
will.
a full version, or somebody will. So I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go with The Doors.
Nice.
Okay.
1991.
All right.
It's one of my favorite flicks.
I've never seen it. I'm excited. I heard he's amazing in it.
And I will just say, and I'll probably explain it when we go through the reviews. I think it really shows his talents as a actor.
I mean,
for
people,
sure.
I think, if this said it's arguably his best performance. He should have been nominated for an Oscar for it. Like the band, The Doors, were like, that's Jim Morrison. Like,
Jim
holy
Morrison,
shit.
yeah.
Like, you know, that's how good he was.
So The Doors, we'll go with that to open it up.
I love it. Great
and we have
selection.
the album was
Pearl Jam 10.
Pearl Jam 10. So we'll do those two. We'll fucking chop it up. We did a nice little tight 138 here, so there we go. We're
We
on the right
appreciate
track.
you guys, yeah.
Journeymen Lounge Podcast for Woj.
And Ryan.
And Bobby.
Talk to y'all next week.
Cheers.
Hey.